of new Fed facilities that have been created to try to push liquidity into financial markets and to financial institutions. The traditional method is the discount window. That's always existed. That's where we can lend to banks who have good enough quality collateral to offer in return for short-term loans. But we had to extend the terms of those loans and the types of institutions that we would lend to and the types of collateral that we would accept. And that's really what all the acronyms is, the growth in those things, the duration and the types of collateral that we accept. So we extended the terms of the loans and the types of collateral. And another thing we did, and this is kind of important for those historians who are going to compare what's going on now with the Great Depression and stuff, other financial crises, is there's a lot more collaboration between the Federal Reserve in particular and the ECB and other central banks, who are, because this was a global thing. There's a chart with UBS and other countries pretty heavily in US denominated debt, that it had to be, the responses to some extent have to be coordinated across countries. So here's a chart. This is one chart we look at a lot to get an indication of the of risk in the interbank market. So this is the market for one bank borrowing funds from another bank on a short-term basis. Here, there's red is 1 month and 3 months. This is the spread between the rate that the highest quality banks charge each other and the overnight rate. So that's what the LIBOR to OIS means, but don't worry about the acronyms. The idea is, here's the rate that you get for overnight versus 1 month versus overnight, or 3 months versus overnight. You can see back then it was basically just a few basis points spread. Because these are the highest quality institutions, there's no worries, mate. We'll get the money back. These are unsecured loans, but you have the full faith and confidence of this institution behind it, and so there are typically pretty low spreads between them. And then things went haywire about August of last year. Well, okay, I thought, well, this measure is still pretty elevated through September, but at least it was stabilizing. You pretty much see when it blipped up, then a new Fed facility came online. It went down for a while, and then blipped up, and a new Fed facility came online, a new way to get liquidity out there, and so on and so forth. Then nothing much had happened. It was just kind of elevated, and it was kind of like, well, is this going to be the new normal? Well, elevated but stable. Until I had to rescale the axis in September. It just went through the roof. Basically, credit markets just completely froze, ground to a stop. Nobody wanted to lend money to anybody. So, what did we do? Well, we went back in and we sharply expanded the size of our existing liquidity programs at Alphabet Soup. We expanded the size of those things, and we also added to the Alphabet Soup by providing liquidity support to other markets, commercial paper markets. Anybody know what commercial paper? It's just short-term debt, but it could be financial. It could be AT&T. It's often what an institution will do if it has money. It knows it has a flow. AT&T knows it gets its bills paid at a certain time of the month. It's going to have this cash flow coming in, but it's got to meet payroll, so it will issue, 20-day commercial paper. Somebody will buy that. The interest rate's usually pretty low, and that'll give them the cash to make payroll until everybody pays their telephone bill. Well, that market went haywire because a bunch of this commercial paper over the last couple of years started to get backed by what? By those assets. That it wasn't unsecured commercial paper, it was secured commercial paper secured by those darn old bad mortgages again. And that's a big deal for money market funds because they are big purchasers of this stuff. Because traditionally, commercial paper pays a few basis points more than treasuries. Treasuries would be the least risky of all assets in the US. Government securities, that is. This paid a little bit more. This is a very competitive industry, so a few basis points was enough to get difference between getting some investors versus not having investors. So they bought commercial paper. When this market locked up, then people who had money in money market funds said, I want my money. Well, how does a money market fund get its money to pay a redemption? If you go there and say, no, I'm going to withdraw all my money, they have to sell the commercial paper. Well, hang on, they can't sell the commercial paper because it's completely locked up. So we had to kind of have stepped in now to essentially set a floor, backstop the commercial paper market to try to get that going again. All right, so where are we now? So this is as of yesterday, close of business yesterday. That spread thing, well, okay, signs of improvement. It's not going up anymore. It stabilizes back about the level it was last. This level here is certainly not back to this level here, and I'm not very confident that it ever will get back to those low levels again. But things have stabilized somewhat. Just a quick picture on the commercial paper market. This is commercial paper. This is financial company issued commercial paper. It could have been, this is another chart on financial, looks very similar. You can see the amount of commercial paper being issued increasing over recent years, and then overnight just collapsing. Nobody wanted to touch the stuff. Then we introduced this facility to backstop the commercial paper market, and you can see some tentative signs just in the last couple of weeks of some more activity taking place in the commercial paper market. What has this done to the Fed's balance sheet? Well, back in the good old days, there was basically one thing on the asset side of the Fed's balance sheet, and it was the stuff in red, treasuries. That's what we did all our lending against. We would only accept treasuries as collateral for any loans. If you go through to when that LIBOR spread blew up, you can see what we basically did was not grow our balance sheet, but we just changed the composition of our balance sheet. We let treasuries run off, mature, and not replace them. And then we added them with the alphabets of the TAF, the discount window, currency swaps. This is part of this collaboration with other central banks, because other central banks are trying to provide the same kinds of facilities to provide funds to their banks, but because those debt instruments are denominated in US dollars because they were mortgages purchased in the US,